Forbes India presents Digital Wave in Education in partnership with Quora.
Hello. It's been a life-changing few years for all of us with the pandemic. The pandemic has taught us a lot of things. And one of the many is that learning never stops. And so does education, from blackboards to adapting digital screens. Today, the Edtech revolution has redefined the entire knowledge sharing platform in the country. My name is Manu Balachandran, and I welcome you to this special discussion. Forbes India presents the digital wave in education in partnership with Quora. Our experts on board today are some of the best in business and will be sharing their views on the entire EdTech spectrum in the country. We're joined by Mr. Arjun Mohan, the CEO of Upgrad, one of the nation's fastest growing EdTech company and a unicorn. Mr. Gurmeet Singh, General Manager, APAC and MEA from Quora. Mr. Singh is an industry stalwart and has been the Vice President and MD for Yahoo and CEO of Forbes India. We have Mr. Shashank Murli, the CEO of Relevel by Unacademy. Relevel is a platform for skill assessment and empowers job seekers to showcase their skills through tests. We have Mr. Narayan Ramaswamy, a partner and national leader education and skill development at KPMG, India. With over 23 years of experience in management, consulting, and industry, it is a delight to have him with us on the panel today. We also have Mr. Diwakar Chitora, the founder and CEO of Intellipat. His venture Intellipat has established itself as one of the fastest moving company in the training business. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. Let me start today's discussion with Mr. Gurmeet Singh. Mr. Singh, Quora and KPMG has brought out a white paper report on EdTech recently, which says that the Indian EdTech market was estimated to be around 23,500 crore in 2020 and is expected to rise to 85,570 crore in 2025. The report also says that although the online education sector in India saw immense growth during the pandemic, it's currently at a critical juncture as it needs to maintain its momentum post a reopening of offline educational institutions. Could you, on that note, take us through some of the trends related to EdTech topics on Quora post the pandemic, and how have the conversations evolved over time?
Sure. Thanks, Manu. The pandemic has been something which is unprecedented in our lifetime. So a lot of things have changed. But before we get into that, let me give you a brief context on Quora. Quora, as most of you would know, is a place where people connect with each other, they learn, and they share knowledge. So this is effectively a good knowledge sharing network. Here people come to research, evaluate, find communities, share, and therefore be productive. And so the people, when people come to Quora, they're like, for example, they are evaluating, what to do on online education. So let's say how to become a good data scientist. So you could do, research on that, on how to become a good data scientist. And then, you would try to figure out and evaluate, what are the good courses, what are the good platforms that kind of, offer that. And once you've kind of made up your mind on that, you go and check out communities which are there and what are they talking about it, what does the course cost, and is it really worth it, is where these are things where you get these answers from communities. Then of course you kind of eventually take the course and then come back to Quora and share your experience. And that's how we say being productive, because that's the full cycle which you experience on Quora. It is a very unique platform that kind of sits between search and social. And anybody who's into education kind of, really, really loves it. So therefore, it's very, very ideal for education. We have nearly like 57% of our users who are interested in education. So what did the pandemic, do to Quora and in terms of conversations on the education sector? During the first wave of COVID in the pandemic, the conversation on the education sector nearly went up by 3 to 4 times. They stayed there for a while, came back, and then there was another spike which kind of happened in August of 2021. 57% of Quora users, frequently or engage frequently engage in education related topics. And this is something that has kind of gone up during the pandemic. And within education, roughly 58% of the views are on e-learning, and about 24.8% views are on online training. So these are the two topics that kind of garner a lot of conversations on Quora, and these have been going up during the first wave of the pandemic, stabilized, another spike, and now they are kind of consistently going up. So that's in a nutshell what we've experienced at Quora.
Interesting. But could you, when it comes to upskilling, could you sort of throw some light on, the interest or, the intent on Quora?
Sure, Manu. So the context here is, we are living in a fast changing world. Things change, more frequently now than what they would do in the previous 10 years or 20 years. So therefore, it is very important to kind of, refresh yourself. And when it comes to education, therefore, upskilling is very, very important to kind of, stay in touch with the times. And upskilling, Manu, is, and we have esteemed panelists here who would also kind of, talk about it, is into two parts. One is B2C, where you're directly talking to the user who's interested in being upskilled. And then you're talking to organizations as well, where they want employees or a set of employees on the whole to be kind of upskilled, which is, let's say the B2B space. So like we have a stellar panel today from, Upgrad, IntelliPath, Relevel, Unacademy, and also, Interview Kickstart, which wants to be a part of this. So Divakar, Shashank, Arjun, and Narayanan are here, and they are, experts in this space, and, we'll wait to kind of hear from them. But coming back to Quora, how, important is upskilling and how it has been evolving. Digital marketing is the most, talked about topic on Quora. A lot of people think that digital marketing is really, the best way to kind of upskill whichever, industry they are in. So roughly, 50% and more of the conversations kind of happen around digital marketing when you come to the upskilling space. The second topic is very specific in a way. It is data science. So roughly, 20% of the conversations are happening on data science. And the third, top topic on Quora in terms of upskilling or in terms of learning actually is, learning and upskilling on English as a language. So roughly about, 10% of the conversations are happening around that as well. So, overall, if you see on Quora, roughly 69% of the users, use internet for education and study. And Quora users, as per GWI, which has a huge panel, and it says that Quora users are 49% more likely than the internet users to have a university degree. And 21% of Quora users are more likely to purchase online courses, after kind of researching and evaluating them on Quora. So this is the role, I think, which Quora plays in the upskilling space. And, we connect our users to, all the relevant Edtech players in the upskilling space.
I think that's really fascinating about digital marketing, data science, English. Mr. Narayanan Ramaswamy, you've obviously played a significant role in bringing us this white paper. What are your views on the edtech industry, particularly when it comes to consumer behavior and preferences?
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Great forum. And I think the tech industry, and this is across. Now, when I say tech industry, it doesn't necessarily mean only the IT-enabled services or software development sector alone. Across sectors, we see the tech courses, the tech enablement courses to be the most sought after, right? It could be on data sciences, it could be in Industry 4.0, it could be any of those things that are going to bring in those future skills. So tech and tech-related courses are easily the top of the line for and across learners as well. It could be a learner who is still in the education institution. It could be some of those who are in the early stages of their career, or somebody who's going to do some reskilling. Across, this has been the most relevant and the most sought after.
Interesting. Arjun, let me start with you here. How has it been as a journey in creating a space for upskilling category in the market so far?
So, first of all, I don't think that we were only the people who created upskilling as a market. It always used to exist. More from the perspective of a B2B space, what really happened during the COVID and post-COVID is that there were a lot of players like us who started talking about upskilling in a big way. I would say it was more about an insight understanding that now, with more and more employees working from home, having more time, especially during COVID, having more discretionary income, and not being sure where they need to invest this, decided that this is one place of investing in themselves, which could ensure that their career is taken care of. So this is I would say it's a newer trend in a country like India, because we believe that after college, all the investment we do is for our kids. There's no more investment in ourselves. It's a very
Right.
Western philosophy now that we started investing in ourselves today. And I would say the first wave of this happened with the Y2K generation of the first techies, who understood that without investing in themselves and knowing newer technologies, there's no way they can go up. With more and more things happening online and tech being omnipresent everywhere, more and more more and more industries started doing it. Today what I'm seeing is that the trend which existed only in tech, although both Mr. Narayanan and based on the trends in Quora, we've also told about it is about tech, but fact of the matter is things have moved a lot more from tech to the other management courses also. Last year, just by taking UGC data, we had nearly 5,000 people doing MBS online. Last year was the year when the number of people doing MBS online in US overtook the number of people doing offline MBS. So the trend is definitely moving there in self-investing along with having a job. And what has been really helpful is more and more organizations, both in the terms of corporate and upskilling platforms like Upgrad, Intellipad, Relevel, all investing in marketing, telling that this is the way to go. And I
Right.
really like the usage of where Quora sits, that is somewhere between search and social. This reflection of the trend is clearly what is seen in Quora these days also. I rely a lot on Quora. Our customers rely a lot on Quora for the right feedback. So I totally agree with the earlier statements made, and is sort of a market reader for me in that last thing. So this has been pretty much the journey.
Just a follow-up question here. Are employees in that sense, or employers in that sense, sort of investing towards employee upskilling? Is that a trend that you see?
Yes, so very, very interesting question there. See, this was always a trend. Okay, if you look at even legacy employers like an ICICI Bank or banks especially, they had very clear upskilling mechanisms or upskilling programs within the company done by them for their employees. What has happened recently is that the internal upskilling was not enough, because with more and more digitalization and data, you had to even train your employees in data science and digital marketing, which most of these companies did not possess. As a result of which, the companies opened up giving options to their employees that, hey, you can go out and decide what you want to take. Right. So that's been the trend which I saw, but and it became more and more democratized. It was more like saying that, hey, this is my L&T budget, you take it and you go for it. Currently what I'm seeing is that democratization continues, but the companies are asking for more skin in the game. So they are telling the employees that you like a course, You go and buy it, you take it. At the end, I will reimburse it if it's going to be useful for me also. Right. So both the sides are being taken care now. That's the latest trend. So it's more like a B2B2C where the movement is currently.
Interesting. Shashank, in the current edtech space, what is the positioning of Relevel? And is that a place where you can upskill yourself, or does it go beyond that?
Hey Manu, first of all, thanks so much for having me here on this great panel. Really lovely to be here. Uh, Very quickly touching upon how we sort of began Relevel. I think one of the first things we thought of was that there was a lack of this clear path for most of Indian youth to figure out how to sort of pursue this dream career of theirs, right? They would have heard from maybe a cousin somewhere on the internet, etc., that hey, I want to become a software engineer, I want to become a digital marketer or a salesperson, etc. But far and few knew exactly how to do that. And when we and obviously, right, there is a lot of content. There's obviously a lot of content on Quora, there's a lot of content on YouTube, and so many such amazing platforms. But we felt that the true Indian way to sort of put it out there is to actually conduct a test and say that hey, if you clear this test, you will get the so and so job, whether that's a sales job or a tech job or a digital marketing job, if you clear this test, right? And we put out an extensive syllabus, the format of the test spread over 5 hours on a single day, and so on and so forth. And what we noticed is that once we started doing that, a lot of our users today, which we have garnered over 3.5 million users on our platform, started realizing that, oh, this is what potential employers expect out of me as an individual if I have to excel in such a role. And that sort of was a eureka moment for a lot of our users who kept coming back and telling us that, hey, even if they didn't clear the test, that look, you gave us an insight into what is needed in the first place. And as we progressed along, about 12 months ago is when we first also started formally launching courses on our platform, because again, of an insane amount of user demand that, hey, I understood, but I didn't really get a chance to study this in my college, or I'm not able to do so in my current workplace. So can I learn on the platform? And that's something we kept hearing so often, that we launched various courses on our platform. So long story short, I think on Relevel today, our singular mission is to sort of enable a large part of the Indian youth to accelerate their career, where we believe if they already have the skills, they can take one of our tests, get a job, be sort of put in front of employers who are constantly looking to hire the best talent of our platform. And if they feel the need to sort of garner those skills which they currently don't possess, which would make them more employable, or at least sort of, even if they're employed, give them a much better, more promising career in terms of the skills that they're garnering, which are more future ready in nature, they can do so through some of our courses. So that's in a gist what we do.
Absolutely fascinating. Divakar, let me come to you and about IntelliPat. What is the proposition of IntelliPat among its peers in the sector?
So first and foremost, a great panel, a lot of ideas, and more about data driven. I would say the whole points we are talking about. So again, so the first and foremost point, if I want to say, which makes us very very different from the peers, is we always follow the student first approach. And when I say student first approach, is more about a customer value creation for the customers here. So now, before I jump to the what is something we are different, so let's talk about my audiences. So we are setting into a professional education segment, and our audiences start with the graduates who are coming out of the college, or the people who are working in the industry starting with 1 year experience up to the CXO level. So that's basically an age group of almost like 22 to 55 years. Now, when the customer or when any learner comes to us, or any person comes to us and visit us, they come with a different objective in their mind. One is about the employability. They want to go and get the employability done, the freshers. Second one would be the BPO and the KPO guys, and they want to get into a software job. Another set of segment is more about the people who are sitting in the old technologies like Java or mainframe. They want to learn data science or cloud or something else. And another set of people will be the one who are looking out for getting certified on the industry certification like Microsoft or AWS and Azure. And another set of people would be the one they have landed into a project and they do not have the skill set and they want to be confident when they execute the projects. Now, having said this, all these 5 kind of people, we have taken up all of them and we try to create the course. And the most important piece is the curriculum, which is the foundation rock. So the curriculum that we have designed is towards providing the employability and industry readiness so that all these 5 points will be covered. Now, the complete curriculum is divided into multiple modules, and each module has multiple assignments in it, as well as a lot of hands-on exercises, case studies, and every project, or let's say every course, we have at least minimum 10 to 15 projects there. Now, this is more about the textbook which has been created out. Now, second is another piece which is very important is called instructors. Now, the instructors are the subject matter experts coming from the industry with minimum 8 years experience, and these people are coming from Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and all. And also the people, we have another set of people coming from academia, where the people from, the faculty from IIT Madras or Roorkee or Guwahati or the Jammu coming up and teaching. So the idea here is we try to create the courses which provide the best rigor in terms of the academia and the best in terms of the practical exposure from the industry. Now, another thing, if you see, if a learner is learning and these are all professionals, they need support. So at IntelliPath, we provide 24/7 support. Even if the person has a doubt, a technical doubt, not a generic doubt, at 2 o'clock in the night, they can go and get into a session one-on-one with the technical. So this is what actually said. And again, after every session, we collect feedback because see, we believe that no one is perfect in the world, and it's more about a continuous learning should be there. And after every feedback, we get into a very serious check. Okay, what is happening? What people are looking out, and we take feedback very seriously. Whether it's a bad or whether it's good, we make sure what we are doing good, we repeat it again and again. And what we are doing bad, we need to go and improve it on it. And definitely a lot of things in terms of the assignments, when we are talking about, we do the evaluation of the assignment manually. We provide them the feedback so that they know very well, okay, how to go and do it up. And we do the evaluation of the assignment with the students. And last but not the least, one is the important thing is we have a dedicated learning management team. So basically what they do is they connect with all the learners at least 3 times in a month. This is to ensure that, okay, hey, whatever their objective, are we in line, and they're in line. If they're facing any difficulty, it's more providing a handholding to them. Now, once the student completes the course, we have a career services piece in it, which includes the resume building. Second is the mock interviews preparation. And third one is we have a dedicated job portal where more than 500 plus companies are setting up there and hiring the students. And again, the another one important point is we are dealing in the professional space, and we understand all the professionals are very, very busy. So we provide them a flexibility that they can stop up the course in between. They can start at a later point in time. Also, we provide a lifetime access to all the learners. That means even if you are studying today and you have completed the course, even after 1 year, you want to re-attend the classes, you come to us, and without any single charge, we provide them the education there. So I think this is more about the quality and the pedagogy with the technology in place. We are doing all of them. And again, Quora definitely plays a very important role. If I talk about in terms of, the people want to go and see it up, you will see a lot of feedback about IntelliPath, the reviews and everything. And I think it would be more about, I would say, a very genuine reviews. It's not about you're going to go and put up any face and the false comment there. The people go and put socially very clearly, okay, what is something they are able to get, what they are not able to get. So that's
absolutely. Gurmeet, we've heard Arjun, we've heard Shashank, Divakar, all of them sort of speak about upskilling, the trends in getting placements, and of course the trajectory of tech courses. When you look at the K-12 test prep market, what are the conversation trends and interests on Quora on these topics?
Sure, Manu. So, let me give you some context here as well, because, I love numbers, and numbers, in my opinion, give you an idea of the scale on which, a particular category is. So we'll first go to test prep. And we know the big exams in test prep are NEET, and, roughly 15 to 18 lakh people appear for NEET. IIT has about 7 lakh people. CAT has about 2 lakh people. So virtually, in India, exams and therefore test prep are very, very big category. Given the size of these, these are in fact the exams which people talk about the most on Quora. So we roughly have over 1 million users on Quora who actively follow topics related to competitive exams. So which could range from, what kind of exams, when do they happen, how do we prep for it, what are the success metrics, any particular advice, academic advice, some, tips maybe. So these are the kind of, conversations that happen on uh, test preps and all of that. Extremely discussed category, and even if you see, the kind of revenue we were talking about the report, you were mentioning about the report, the revenue is going to go up from like roughly 7,000 crore to roughly 33,000 crores in terms of from this category by 2025. So that's how huge this category is, and it's hugely discussed on Quora. Then coming to K-12. K-12, as expected, most of the conversations are along online tutoring. So that's a large topic for conversations on Quora. Then the next other topic, which is kind of discussed, is choosing the right majors, choosing the right subjects. So these are things which are kind of hugely discussed. The other topics which are hugely discussed in the K-12 space are CBSE, and also in terms of e-learning. So these are some of the things that are kind of discussed in the K-12 and test prep stage on Quora.
Interesting. Mr. Ramaswamy, we speak so much about Edtech. What are your thoughts on Government of India's initiatives when it comes to sort of helping the Edtech industry?
Excellent. So I think, like it happens, government has also woken up to the fact that it is going to be tech all the way when it comes to education particularly. And there are a slew of initiatives that government has initiated, and the pandemic only accelerated the space, right? I mean, if you look at the K-12 space, Diksha is a portal where there is a lot of stuff happening in higher education. You can look at SWAYAM, NPTEL, then this newly announced digital university that is going to be like, holding all of these things together at a mega scale. And we're also looking at portals like iGot and the Karma Yogi initiative, where there is tech all the way in terms of getting some of the civil servants and some of the the government employees up to speed. If you look at the way this is caught on, and Diksha alone has increased from somewhere like 337 crores a year back to over 508 crores now until last month. And Swayam, which had a slow pickup, had more than 2.25 crores of enrollments till date. And at any point of time, 25 lakh students are pursuing any course, and 8 lakh certifications are being issued. 6,000 courses are being offered. And it's like, by any stretch of imagination, even at a global scale, this is huge. And only this semester, about 875 courses that are being offered. And the integrated government online and training program iGot has more than 300 courses listed. And during the pandemic, this portal got used a lot. Around about 1.5 odd lakhs government servants are onboarded on this, and the platform is working. 60 universities in India offer fully online courses. Recently, the government also allowed the certain universities and affiliated colleges who had a certain minimum criteria to offer online courses on their own. And of course, you can't offer in all these areas. But I think overall, we see government looking at this space very positively. They want to play a role. They're directly involved in some of these things. And I also think they're creating an enabling environment for the edtech companies to become world leaders.
And is there something else that from a government perspective, can they do more in that sense?
Well, of course, if you ask me, anytime they can do a lot more, because we see EdTech to be the next wave, like what information technology services was 20 years or sometime around that. Right. And we see so many unicorns and soon-to-be unicorns happening out of India, and there are many names. And if with a little patron, and we are the largest market today, and there are markets that are emerging. And if there is an enabling environment, if there are some means of promoting this more, I think we'll be world leaders by a mile. And at the moment, there is also a lot of looking east that is happening with many countries that we work. Many of the emerging nations where you have this young population are increasing looking at India, which is similar in terms of the journey that they have taken through. So I think government's support and government creating that enabling environment for the edtech companies to thrive, an environment where investments happen freely, where if there are going to be mergers and other things that happen accretively, and this and also going abroad. Many of the edtech players today you see are having a large customer base outside India. It's no more only India, and hence I think with some of these stuff that is going to encourage these players, and I would also think at this stage edtech market is just about emerging. We are just in my view, phase one of the big edtech revolution that is happening. And we need to have more and more players in this market. So encouragement by the government from an entrepreneur side to come into the space is also going to help a lot.
Very, very fascinating. Arjun, let me come back to you here. Do you think the upskilling sector is a sort of a very niche and restricted segment? And how are you at Upgrad sort of addressing that?
So I don't think so at all. Upskilling, believe, and I will pick this up from the question on K-12 earlier. So maybe before the pandemic, we are talking about 2018-19. Till that time, EdTech in India was all about K-12. Everyone was talking about the 250 million school-going students, and all the unicorns and the big investments have all gone in there. And I mean, I was not part of Upgrad by then, but then the earlier conversation, which I was privy to later, when it came to investor conversation, was all about this is a very small TAM. Doesn't make sense investing in it, right? But then over time, what we have understood is that the TAM is never small. The TAM is small if you start thinking about a small portion of techies whose salary is about 10 lakh rupees. But time has proved that that's not the case. Today, what's happening is we are talking about 100 million population. Just add the number of people on LinkedIn and the number of students who are in college after K-12, you'll get a number close to 100 million. And that, in my view, is the TAM currently in India, and that TAM is only growing. And as I told you earlier also, in the beginning, it may have been only tech courses, but today we are seeing an explosion in demand across the categories, because being digitally prevalent, even when you are an HR professional, being knowledgeable in analytics, even when you are a healthcare professional, is essential today. So upskilling across happens if you want to keep going up in life. And that is where organization like us sit. So it's not really a niche at all. Time and again, we have proved that it is not niche. I mean, for instance, a category like what Relevel have been focused on, basically about students who are just coming out of college. Like many years ago, we never thought that after spending lakhs of rupees in an engineering college, they will be ready to spend. Today it's proved. True. Because they have the confidence that today, just out of college, I am able to get a 1.8 lakh salary with a course where I really hone up my skill in the Pythons and the data sciences of the world. I can get a 5 lakh, 6 lakh package. So it's also, I would say that this market is growing, and the TAM so-called world is growing with the confidence of Indian youth. And I mean, when I was studying, or like go back 20 years or 15 years ago, 20 years ago, how did we all come to know about IIMs? It all started becoming a dining table conversation when that first 1 crore package happened, right? Last 1 year in Upgrad, we had 6 1 crore packages coming out of people who upskilled in Upgrad. So that's where the world is going today. And that, I would say, is a reflection of the confidence of our youth. They are no longer constrained by anything at all, and they want to learn more. They are ambitious. They are ready to pick up new things and go to the next level. So hence, it's no longer a niche. And I would say that each of the categories within EdTech, whether it be the executive programs, or it be the degree programs, or it be the study abroad programs, or it be the college learning programs, or it be the job train deploy job guarantee programs, each of this has the tendency to create unicorn companies from the way I see it. So it's not at all a niche, it is an exploding market. And I will not be surprised if in the next phase of Indian edtech, we will have more revenue coming out of upskilling than from K-12, considering all the consolidation I am seeing today.
Uh, Shashank, do you sort of agree with that?
I agree on a lot of counts for sure. I mean, uh, I think the biggest thing is obviously the confidence that is just abound in a lot of the current youth, right? I think just the fearlessness that and the ingenuity to say that I'm going to go learn something which today I don't know, because that holds a promising career for me at the end of it, is something that is not not an exception anymore, but almost becoming the norm, right? Now that could be done in various forms. Somebody could be doing that by just being on YouTube or reading books or so on, or enrolling in courses such as what Level offers or Upgrad offers or Intelipat offers and so many other players offer. But I think it's very clear that, time and again, every few years, uh, the entire sort of workforce is seeing changes happening continuously, right? I think the 2016 to 2020 period, data science was viewed as, oh, this is a very different sort of beast that one needs to pick up and tackle and so on and so forth. But today it's becoming seriously common. Everybody from a sales leader to a marketing leader to a HR leader is almost well versed with SQL and Excel and things like that. I mean, of course, those are the most simplified aspects of data analytics. But uh, the limited point I'm trying to make is even every business leader out there, business managers out there, line managers are embracing some of these technologies in their day-to-day roles, right? How can I do better marketing? How can I do better sales? And these aspects are becoming so critical. So hence I say that it's becoming more or less the norm that you need to sort of pick up some of these things. In fact, today I think what data science was between 2016 to 2020 is ML and AI, with so much work happening right from just building models to the latest being generative AI in the last couple of quarters, right? So the change is continuous. I think that is something that's very clear to everybody, every working professional, and they know that. And I believe we're also in a phase in our economy, in our nation building, that it is we're all ambitious, we're all striving to do better in every facet of life, and our skills are just no different. We want to be amongst the best in the world, and I believe in that. But just by virtue of that ambition, we will continuously see more and more platforms, more and more solutions, uh,
Right.
uh, which I still believe, we're still much like what Arjun said, we're still in phase one of the kind of solutions itself. I think technology still has a lot more to offer just in the learning journey in terms of gamification, personalization, both from content to exercises to so much more that's yet to happen. So yeah, I think it's very much day one from
Okay.
the way we see it at Level and at the Unacademy Group.
So, on Relevel, what are some of the, sort of the most sought after areas when it comes to upskilling and the roles that are preferred amongst sort of your users?
Well, software development, whether that's front end, back end, full stack, data analytics, business analytics, and also we offer a bunch of non-technical courses which are preferred by people, in maybe slightly some of the smaller cities and towns of our country, but are looking at upward mobility in terms of trying to be part of a more organized sector. So there we have of courses in sales, in HR, in operations, etc., uh, which includes a very integrated and inclusive aspect of English as well, right? So one of the big insights we discovered was that a lot of the aspiration is, or some of the confidence at times gets dented by the lack of English. And integrating that and coupling that up with some of these key job roles, which are plentiful out there, where companies are hiring day in day out, recession or not. I think it was one of the key insights that we found could be very interesting for some of the more hinterlands of the country. So these are a couple of the offerings, and we keep obviously trying to decipher demand and keep trying to listen to our users on a constant basis to see the more we can do.
Right. Divakar, do students or people from non-IT backgrounds, when post they learn AI, blockchain, data analysts, analytics, all of that, do they get relevant placements? How do you see that?
I think yes. See, the most important thing, if you really see, for any company to hire a resource, is more about the skills what they have. It's not about the tag that they have. What is something you have done in the past, what degree you carry, or what is something you have on the paper in terms of the norm. The degree perspective. So we have seen a lot of people coming from civil engineering, or even we have seen the people coming from mechanical. We have seen these are the all over the engineering branches, which is non-IT branches. We have seen the people coming from BSc, BCom, and all of them are getting to a transition from a BCom guy, an accountant, becoming a data scientist. We have seen a transition of a mechanical engineer becoming a data scientist. So we have seen a lot of such cases, and it's not about only a transition from a particular one per se of a core engineering job towards the IT, a data science job. Even the people have a lot of growth has been come in terms of the personal development plus the salary hike. So we have seen almost like a salary hike of 500 salary per hike. We have seen the 500% salary hike. On an average, we have seen even the people from the non-technical background, we have seen on an average around 55% salary hike on our platforms. So I think this applies to almost all the different platforms. I would say, and also whether you have been learning or you have learned the programming in the past doesn't matter. It's more about your will. It's more about your passion towards the IT. You can really do wonders in the IT, and we have proven it.
Right, but with all of this rise in tech courses, do you think students and parents are developing a leaning towards that?
Yes, 100%. So if you really see, if I talk about the, let's talk about the graduation. So in my time around almost like 20, 25 years back, now if you really see, the first aim of a parent is to go and make sure the kid gets settled down and handles. Absolutely. Now, if I really see, the biggest money makers are the people who are getting into an IT job. And that's a proven fact. And almost all the people in all the core engineering branches, all of them are moving towards an IT job. Now, having said that, if you really see, there's a huge demand of IT skilled laborers in India, and there's a huge shortage of the resources who are really skilled. Now, to give you an idea where the industry is jumping on, so if you have seen the fintech, earlier now we have Paytm, we have PhonePe and everything. That means you can go and make a transaction on the mobile. That was not the case around 10 years back. The fintech has been disrupted very, very high. Now, if you really see, another segment which is going to get into a disruption is more about an automobile industry. Now, earlier we were talking about, okay, whenever the car makers, they were talking about, okay, my engine is the best, my has a high mileage car. Now today the car maker, even if you see after the next 5 years, car makers will not be talking about, okay, hey, what the core really part of the engine. They will be talking about, okay, hey, my car can be operated by a mobile. My car can be parked automatically in a parking slot. So they will be talking about more of these kind of IT technologies inbuilt inside the car, and Tesla has made the disruption already. And that's what actually, even if you see all the car makers after 5 years or 6 years down the line, they will say, okay, we are the IT companies, we are not automobile industry. So that is what actually the change is going to go and come. Similarly, in finance industry, if you see, you will see a lot of openings for the people on the data science front. You will see a lot of opening in the cyber security. So doesn't matter whatever the domain, what are the core domains even we are talking about, all of them have a huge need of the IT. And that's what actually data science, data analytics, big data, cloud computing, IoT, they have a big life. And again, there's a huge, I would say, the future for these technologies. And again, the leaning towards this is by default with the student as well as the parents in place.
Gurmeet, with all this sort of chat about, Edtech, how sort of Quora redefining itself for today? And how can sort of brands take a thought leadership position on Quora to sort of communicate their objective?
Yeah, in fact, given the nature of the platform, it is very, very ideal for thought leadership. So thought leadership in Quora can be done in like two ways. One is that there is a sub product within Quora called Spaces. So Spaces is where you can go create a community on a particular topic. So let's say you pick up a topic. Hypothetically, it is on, let's say, data science. Or how to kind of do well in life through upskilling. Let's say a more generic topic, and you kind of start conversations on that and take a leadership stance there. So what happens is, as and when you are talking on that particular topic, Quora also kind of uh, alerts more users, and this topic is kind of getting more views, and then people kind of join that particular conversation that's happening. The second way of happening is that through your individual profile, we encourage people to kind of answer as many questions as possible, and depending on the kind of personality you are, and the kind of answers which you give, you have a lot of people looking at your answers. I'll give you a few examples. So, for example, Mayank Kumar of Upgrad, has more than 300 answers on Quora, and Quora answers are like long answers. They're detailed answers, with data points, with figures and graphs and all of that. So, huge amount of effort kind of goes in for that, and most of these answers are kind of moderated first by the machines, and later on, if required, there's human intervention as well. So Mayank has answered, more than 300 times. And then there is Gaurav Munjal of Unacademy, who is again a power user of Quora with more than 400 answers. So that's another example. Soham Mehta of Interview Kickstart has more than 200 answers. So that there are people like that who kind of are actively, answering questions, taking a thought leadership stance. So that's the other way of taking a thought leadership stance on Quora. And yeah, it has a huge audience. We have, like, within India itself, we have more than 100 million plus unique monthly users. So you have a large audience who can subscribe to your thought leadership.
Absolutely. Mr. Narayanan, as we come to the sort of the end of the session, what is the way forward to be future ready for EdTech?
Oh yeah. So like I said, EdTech, in my view, is just in its infancy stage. Like, there is so much more that can happen in the EdTech space, and I'll kind of say some of those things that comes to my mind. For example, when we looked at the Quora data, it says something like 60% of Coursera learners are learning on the mobile platform. So the mobile first learning is going to be a significant kind of a change that is happening, and it will happen faster. Hybrid learning is going to happen. EdTech is all about the technology online space now, and we're slowly getting on to how we can blend these things. Another big change that's going to happen is vernacular learning. We see the CAGR figures of vernacular learning in a big way, and we believe that this is going to be the next big thing to happen. The trend that we see, which is very interesting, is the social learning and the peer-to-peer models that are emerging. Gone are those days that there is one teacher and there is another learner, and there is this peer model where you can learn from each other. And what better platform than Quora for some of these things, where you learn from each other, and that is increasing as a trend. Then you have personalized learning. You can actually get EdTech companies as if they are servicing only you, and there's a lot of technologies around it, wherein I can get what I want. So it's getting more and more learner centric. The big trend that I'm personally very excited about is the immersive learning that is happening through EdTech, and that can happen only in EdTech. The augmented reality, the virtual reality technologies that are coming in is now making learning as if you are part of the learning. It's not externalized, like you are part of the learning program, and hence your ability to retain that, your ability to put that to use, and that's the purpose of learning, right? That's going to emerge a lot more stronger because of this immersive learning that can happen using the Edtech platforms. But more important, I think, is also the kind of trends that on the micro nano credits, stackability of these programs, and they are actually flowing back. The brick and mortar, the traditional learning is actually gaining a lot by this, because it's augmenting them in a manner where the degree programs, the formal programs, are going to be augmented a lot by the micro nano credits that the edtech companies can offer. I mean, last but definitely not the least, I also see a lot of online universities coming up. The government has announced a digital university, and I see this just as the beginning. And we're going to see from an edtech company in a specific domain or a specific concept that is being taught to full-blown online universities. And I do believe that with the kind of the learner base that we have, the kind of tradition that we have in terms of teaching, we call ourselves Vishwaguru, right? And the edtech emergence here, India is going to be seeing the preeminence when it comes to online varsities. And I guess all these things are going to happen much sooner than we think.
Absolutely. On that note, I think we need to sort of soon bring this session to a close. So I'll start taking closing comments from all our panelists. We can start with Arjun, on where you see for your company, going forward, where you see potential and where you see the sort of the wider edtech space shaping up as we go forward.
So we are focused on the higher education space. In last 12 months, what we did is from the focused university partnership model, we expanded to multiple adjacent parts of the market, which includes short-term certificates through the acquisition of knowledge huts, offline courses through the acquisition of 2 universities and an institute focused on data science called Insofi, because we saw that trend is also coming on. So we are very clear that for a student today, post K-12, who is looking at higher education upskilling need, we want them to see upgrade as a end-to-end platform, which provides everything from a structured curriculum with the latest tools to upskill themselves, a mentorship platform, a coaching platform, and ending with a placement transition kind of services which they are looking at. So that's what the view is, and that's what we are going to be focused in. We are very sold on the higher education side of things. So we don't want to distract ourselves with the K-12 focus, and this is what we are going to continue.
Shashank, is that how you're also going to go ahead? Just be focused on your area?
Well, from a re-level perspective, yes, of course. But as a group, I think we obviously have a very, very strong test prep business, online and now also offline. And we're obviously we have re-level purely on the upskilling side and the job side. We also have a couple of very interesting just pure play technology platform businesses that we run. So, we are just very ardent believers that edtech is something that is so critical in the growth journey of not just the technology ecosystem in India, but the country as a whole. And from that perspective, I think we have been bullish as a group since 2015. We remain to be. In fact, our founder, Gaurav Munjal, keeps sharing that he believes that, edtech is probably the sector which will produce the largest consumer company in India and not e-commerce. And we're all ardent believers of that, we have a very critical role to play. We continue to, ensure that we deliver the best value to our users. We're, essentially product builders. We take deep care in terms of how we're building each of our products, how we can make that better day in, day out, where that tiny micro optimization will aid a learner's journey. And that's what we, focus on ardently. And we don't worry too much about the noise and just focus on ensuring that we create beautiful products that add value to our users day in, day out. So we actually call that constantly building positively addictive products for
Yeah.
India, and that's what we
Okay.
are focused on doing.
Fascinating. Diwakar, how bullish are you about the sector going forward? For you and for the sector altogether.
So definitely, we are setting into a professional education. So this is one of the key area, and we'll be focusing on it. So again, as Arjun also mentioned, we both sit in the same sector, and I think this is one of the what we are sitting right now is only in what we are seeing right now is only the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more things are there, and with the new education policy in place, a degree programs has been there. One of the the wider where the government is even considering to make the quality education available to everyone. And if you really see the new education policy, it's very beautifully laid out to make sure the quality and the system becomes very, very strong. So definitely the degree programs, graduate level, postgraduate level, plus the certification program that we are doing. We are working in B2B. We are working with, in job guarantee program. And that's not only about India. We have been operating in the multiple countries. Almost like 50% of our learners come from US. So it's not about only the India we are talking about. We are making sure that the vision started with, to provide the high quality education to everyone, because we believe everyone has a right. Now, if I talk in particular to India, I think India is sitting on a GDP scale of almost like a top 6 country. And if we really have to go and get into a vision of around 2030, where we want to go and bypass, and get into a top 3 list, I think creating the skill resources is one of the most important thing. And we will go and say, as India will be the skill hub for the world, because
Right.
the moment we go and do it up, all the foreign direct investment will be coming into it. A lot of companies will be coming into it, and the development starts there. Like what we have seen with Infosys coming in picture and talking about, okay, hey, India is a great country, great resources, and great talent, and every other company has moved into it. Is whether it's IBM or Accenture, they've invested heavily in India. Now, if you really see, in order to go and educate the masses of India, it cannot be really possible with the classroom training. You need to have a digital piece attached to it, and that's what actually with the whole vision. If I because I deal with my team also with the courses that we are running with, so they are very bullish that India has a great scope. And again, we understand, okay, here that we have a huge talent pool sitting up there. It's more about we are not providing the right teacher and the right quality education. Now, if we have provided the right quality education with the online means, because digital is only the one means that we can educate people in a very short span of time. And if we see 2030, if you have to go and train 50% of the population, which is graduate out, we will be in the top 3 list of the GDP. And I think this is an era of India, and we should be focusing on it.
Absolutely. Mr. Ramaswamy, how do you see the edtech sector in India sort of shaping up as we go forward?
Well, I think edtech is, let me call it inevitable. Like, it's not anymore a trend that has happened in education. It is going to be the future of education. So I would even imagine a time where the education is going to be seamless in terms of what is offered as online, what is offered as in classroom education and other stuff. So that's one trend that I see. The second trend that I see is there are avenues that are possible in edtech formats that are not possible in the traditional format that existed thousands of years before. So the disruption, the order of disruption is so much that we are going to see newer and newer ways of education that is going to come in just because it's going to be an edtech platform. The third trend that I see is the amount of or the number of education hours that people are going to spend is increasing because of the obsolescence and other things that are in the reskilling, upskilling part is going to be more. And unless there is a platform, a tech platform there, it's not going to be possible at all. It kind of feeds into each other. Like because you have these platforms, you get people who are going to be skilled more. And because we're going to have more and more skilled people into it, there is going to be a difference in the way industry and civil society behaves. And the last, but definitely not the least, I also see this as the biggest sunrise sector for India as a country where we are going to be seen as leaders who are going to provide these services to other countries, especially those countries which has got this younger population. Not just younger population, there's going to be lifelong learning that's going to come up. So it's going to be for all. So in all put together, I see edtech as the most compelling thing that has happened, and that is going to completely disrupt the way we are going to have learning and training, and it's going to change the way we look at industry and civil society.
Fascinating. Gurmeet, final comments from you about how you see the potential for Quora and also for the edtech industry in India.
Sure, Manu. I think the panel has more or less kind of covered everything. There are 2 points, I would like to add, and before that, a little context. So when internet happened, it kind of, melted all geographical boundaries, and that effect on education is now beginning, to happen in a very, very big way. Any particular industry, it takes roughly about 7-8 years to settle down, right, Mr. Narayan? So in that context, if you see the real boom in education has happened, started about, 7 years ago. And now is the time, like, most of the panelists have kind of talked about, is kind of day one. We're now really ready to kind of, take off. So now that 7 years have passed by, and we have we've also talked about how mobile is going to play a big role in education, and we are all aware that 5G is also kind of coming. So these are things that will aid education to go to the next level as internet penetrates more and more smaller towns, and as more better infrastructure is available, that will kind of really catapult it to the next level. And India has always been, a land of knowledge and education. And now I think the true democratization of knowledge will happen now, which is an excellent trend that I see. The second trend which I see is this entire focus on Make in India, which will lead to more and more, focus on skills which will be required in India as well. So that also will, propel online education and skill upgradation in a very, very big way, where edtech can play a huge role. So these are the two things I would like to put forward.
Right. On that note, I think we're well past our time, so we need to bring this session to a close. And like all of you mentioned, we are only sort of scratching the surface now, and the key is, of course, to sort of turn a deaf ear to all the noise around and keep going, because the potential is massive. So thank you, gentlemen, for taking time out today to be with us. From all of us at Forbes India, we wish you the best, and of course, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Forbes India presents Digital Wave in Education in partnership with Quora.